It's a great pleasure to welcome back Tom Crotty back to What's Next. And Tom is the lead specialist for technical marketing at Liberty. And we're going to talk about the Claims 2023 story. As you've been listening from the previous interviews that I've had, there have been some amazing stories that are coming out of Liberty, from the technology that's making the whole process easier to the turnaround time, etc., etc. Tom, it's great to see you again. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks, Aki. Always great to be on the show and see that wonderful smile.
Thank you, sir.
Looking forward to what's next.
Listen, refresh everybody about you and tell us about your career and what your position is at Liberty at the moment. What do you do there?
Okay, well, yeah, I think this is the first time I've ever been asked this in an interview, but studied to be an actuary, qualified to be an actuary, started out in the pensions world. Got a bit bored of that and went into life insurance and financial advisors, and joined Liberty around 7 years ago, and somehow found a little bit of my calling. Didn't realize that life insurance actually such a fundamental part of society and creating societal good, and have really taken to it. At the moment, I'm in technical marketing. Effectively there as a communication specialist, trying to simplify, explain what life insurance is, not only to our clients, to our advisors, and to you, to try and make it a bit more understandable and a bit less foreign.
Well, listen, what's great about it is that you've got this passion for what you do, right? But you're not just a marketing person and talking about it from a marketing perspective, but you actually understand the product because you are an actuary. And that makes a massive difference when you actually understand and you know what you're talking about. So let's start off with that. I mean, when you look at Liberty and you guys have got so many different products and there's just been so much interesting, advances that have been made over the last few years. But what sets Liberty apart from other financial service providers when it comes to claims specifically? Because we've really been focusing on the claims in the last few interviews, and the speed at which you guys are processing claims is astonishing. That for me stands out.
Yeah, and I think from a Liberty point of view, one of the older life insurers in the market, we've been around for close to 70 odd years, big insurance player. And I think the big news coming out of the last couple of years is that Standard Bank has taken ownership in full of Liberty, and that creates a lot of exciting opportunities. I think there's the opportunity to really combine what you're offering on the bank side as well as on the life insurance, the investment side, and really give clients who engage in both sides of the company a lot more value across the different products. And that's going to take time. I think that's not something that you switch on immediately, but lots of exciting things coming into the future, specifically between Liberty and Standard Bank. And then another one that we made, and I think news probably in this channel, is that we launched an update to our education insurance policy. So we introduced Educator Extra, all around offering a standalone life insurance product that covers your child's future education should something happen to you. But not unlike other products in the market. That is what it was designed to do. What we introduced to add onto that was a full cashback. So if you go take out this policy and your child gets to 18 and you haven't claimed, you will get all your premiums back in cash at that stage. However, if you also go into claim at some stage, something happens to one of the parents, the clients also get their full cashbacks or full premiums back in cash at that date, plus their child's future education is covered. So really speaking to that client's demand and need, that they want something out of a life insurance policy. They don't want to just pay premiums and never claim and not get anything out. So sort of a big thing is around Standard Bank, but there are small enhancements we're making specifically on the Liberty side, which I think are differentiating us in the market.
Wow, that's very exciting. And the educational one is such an important one in the world that we're living in today. When you look at the milestones that you guys achieved at Liberty in 2023, they were quite significant. Could you give us an overview of those significant milestones you achieved last year?
I think the big milestones that we achieved is that we're continuing to offer advice to our clients. So it's not just we are here to offer advice. We offer to able here to make sure that clients' financial needs, their future financial needs, are covered. And we partnered with a huge amount of financial advisors around the country to offer that. I think that's the biggest milestone. It's the big, and speaking specifically to claims, without financial advice, you don't have claims. And I think if you don't have the policy that's there when you need it the most, then you're not going to have the claims payouts that we're talking to today. And I think the big milestone is almost in the small little engagements that our advisors are making, and making sure that clients have their financial needs covered.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important point, because even though you guys are making these massive technological advances and making the whole process a lot more automated and easier, the humane side of, face-to-face with the customer and helping the customer understand the products that they're buying is really, really important. Now, one of the biggest results of the report was that Liberty paid, and I couldn't believe this, 25.85 million in personal risk cover claims every day in 2023. So every single day last year, Liberty was paying out just over 25 million rand, or a total of 6.72 billion. I'm trying to comprehend those numbers, but can you tell us more about this incredible number?
Yeah, so we paid out all across our personal life insurance policies. So we paid out 6.72 billion rand, which is a significant amount of money. But often you forget how many zeros are behind 6.72 billion. So we like to put it into a bit of context, which is why we converts it into how much rand we pay each working day. So 25.85 million rand every single working day is going back into the economy to help individuals get through a difficult moment, whether it's the death of a significant individual, whether it's a diagnosis of a critical illness, or possibly the ability that their ability to work has been fundamentally impaired or permanently changed. That is money going back in to help those individuals get through what comes into the future. And if you look at it, the majority of those claims will come from life cover. So we paid out close on 5 billion in claims for death. But more interestingly is that we paid now north of 1 billion rand in critical illness claims. So your cancers, your heart attacks, your strokes, we're starting to pay out a lot more of our total claims towards that. And we've seen a decrease in the percentage, or a slight decrease in the percentage of death claims, but an increase in the critical illness claims. And that went up by about 14% year on year, which is scary, but also the reason you take out the cover.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's absolutely a fascinating number. It took me by surprise, to be honest. How has the landscape changed, Tom, when you look at the landscape of claims specifically? How's this changed over the year, particularly over the past year? And what kind of trends are you noticing in the future?
Okay, so some of the trends are very stagnant. So at the moment, 68% of our claims are for men and 32% of our claims are for women, very much similar to what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years. But that is mainly driven by the demographics of the book. So historically, men more likely to take out life insurance or life insurance policies. So we've had a great portion of clients being men. So that's why you're seeing close to 2/3 being male claims. However, at younger ages, you're starting to see that balance a lot more equal, where it's about 50-50 between males and females. So you are seeing that shift going through, and I think more and more you'll see the proportion of female claims coming up. Nice ones. Youngest claim was 23. So interesting to see that even young individuals are needing to claim on their policies, but also older individuals still claiming on their policies. And our oldest client was 103 years old who received a claim payout. So yeah, interesting when you put sort of some ages to it. Out of our top 5 claims, cancer remains number 1 claim, up from the previous year. So that's up to 82% of our total claims were for cancer. 23% were for cardiac and cardiovascular related diseases. So your heart attacks, anything related to the heart, still a significant proportion of claims. We've seen respiratory disorders that go down slightly. So it's obviously been high through the COVID era. That's slowly been reducing, and strokes staying pretty constant at around 5% of our total claims. But suppose to summarize quite quickly, cancer claims higher than they were, cardiovascular claims higher than they were, but COVID-related respiratory disorders that coming down as we would expect as we come out of this pandemic.
You know, Tom, that cancer one is concerning because it's a number that's around the world. We're seeing, more people dying of cancer. And I was wondering, is it because we have technology and medicine has advanced so much that we're able to detect it easier, which is why it's so higher? Or is it that we are leading more stressful lives and more people are getting sick with cancer? Do we know what's causing this?
Not really a doctor, so I don't want to jump into that.
I'm just interested.
I do think
I find it fascinating.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is interesting, and I think it's something that the whole world seems to be going on. I think at a simple level, maybe it's that we're all living longer, so the likelihood of developing a cancer, cardiovascular type disease naturally increases. But we are seeing it at younger ages, and maybe that does speak to the inherent stress in society. I know previously, especially coming out of COVID, we spoke about people not going to do their preventative screening and not going through their annual checks because they were too worried about COVID, going outside the house, going to hospitals. So we did see sort of an uptick in the severity of cancer that we were seeing claims on. So you catch it a lot later, the likelihood of surviving a lot lower. And I think there is still an element of that coming out. But the big thing that I think individuals need to think about is how important those preventative tests are. Go and get checked because it can pick it up a lot earlier. And then your prognosis for getting through it, surviving it, always a lot better.
Good advice. Good advice. What role has technology played in enhancing the efficiency of Liberty claims? Because you guys have certainly applied a lot of technology and it's actually sped up the process considerably. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, so I think the big change we've made is we're trying to get a lot more digital and moving things a lot faster. So instead of having claims assessor sit and receive all the documents via email, look through them, batch it, make notes, put it all together, we're trying to digitize that whole process. And we're at the start of that. I don't think we've unlocked the full potential of that, but we're already seeing big improvements in how fast we're able to pay out claims once they're going through that digital process. And that does mean that there's a digital submission form. You go through it. Your advisor typically will help you through that, submit all the requirements, and then we're able to process a lot of it a lot faster. And that just means that checking whether all the right requirements are there to make the assessment, that can be done with some sort of automated process. You don't need a human to go and check that an individual submitted their ID and the proof of the death certificate set. So we are seeing a lot more automation. I think we're at the start of it. We need to move into our living claims, so where clients are submitting claims for disabilities, for critical illnesses. We're moving and we're going to advance our processes specifically around that. But moving digital has seen significant improvements in how fast we're able to turn around claims.
And I guess at the end of the day, your customers' needs are also evolving. So you're kind of adapting to what your customers want. You're listening to your customers. And when you look at that, in what ways did Liberty adapt to the need to meet those needs of the evolving needs of the customers? Because your customers are making a lot of these demands and they're saying, we want this to make our lives easier. What did you see from your customers in 2023?
Well, I think customers, I think they're looking for a lot more information. So I think, gone are the days where financial advisor says, you need this, that's going to solve all your future problems. I think clients are looking for a lot more information. They have access to information on the internet, so they're able to go and verify if what the financial advisor is saying in their advice process is legitimate or not. So we're spending a lot more time explaining our products, trying to simplify them, trying to make them as much information as possible. You definitely don't want a situation where a client submits a claim and then it's just accepted or declined and there's no reasoning behind it, which I think possibly in the old days, you weren't able to question those types of decisions, where now with the impact of technology information, I think we have to be a lot more transparent about all the information we're using to assess claims, how we going through the sort of advice journey with the client. I think that's the big thing. And then the big other piece is that clients want stuff now. They don't want to wait 3 months, 6 months to have things done. So you can't leave a claim for 3 months and then look at it. You've got to be a lot faster. And that's why you've got to invest in technology that speeds up that process. Because if there is a valid claim, then you need to make sure that the client has the money as soon after that difficult moment as possible.
When you look forward to this year, and we're almost halfway through, well, we are past halfway through the year, what have your goals been for 2024 for Liberty claims? And, 2024 and even beyond up to 2025, what are you guys focusing on?
I think a big thing that we are focusing on is the improvements in our current processes, making it a lot faster to go through the claims process. We don't want unnecessary time wastage. However, we also got to recognize that it's an experience for a client. So they're going through a very difficult moment often when they're submitting a claim. So whether it's the death of a loved one, diagnosis after a critical illness, you go into doctor, get told you have some form of cancer, you need to make a claim on your policy. You are not in your happiest state. And we've got to recognize it. And part of that sort of submitting a claim is the experience the client has with Liberty. You want to make it as sort of easy, seamless as possible, but recognizing that there is actually a human behind the policy. You can't just deal it over sort of an email always. Sometimes you need to be a bit of a human. And you mentioned it earlier, there is an element of humanity that comes into the claims process, and we want to improve that. So we don't want to just be the big black box that your claim goes in and you get it out the other side, whether it's a yes or no. We want to be able to partner with the client and the advisor through that journey of submitting a claim. So I think that's the big focus. And I think the other big focus is that we still want to stick to a few core principles in how we offer life insurance. We want to offer certainty. So you take out life insurance for uncertain events. So you want certainty that your cover will be in place when you need it. You don't want you want certainty that the premium is going to stay constant over time. It's not going to see surprise increases when you least expect it or can least afford it. That type of thing. We want to be able to offer certain cover to our clients. But we also want to do it in a simplistic manner. We don't want clients to not understand what they've taken out. We want the client to understand what they've taken out. When can they claim? Why would they need to claim? That type of thing. And for advisors to be able to explain it simply to our clients. That is a big focus from us. And yes, I'm going to reiterate it again, the humanity aspect. We don't want it to just be a policy. We want to recognize that there's a family often behind a policy. In 2023, we touched 29,676 families because of our claims. And I think that's what we often forget in coming into work every day. These are humans. They're going through a difficult moment. Claim can actually change that person's life and their future. So let's try to do what we can to pay those claims and make it such that it's not a horrible experience dealing with Liberty.
Interesting stuff. Tom, it's been great catching up again. Tom Crotty is the lead specialist for technical marketing at Liberty. Always good to chat to you, Tom. Best wishes, and hope to chat to you soon.
Yeah, thank you.